fast on this side. I think I'm Big Meech.
What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ajiona and we're locked in. This is the recap for BMF Season 3, Episode 1. Meech is in Atlanta, Terry got Detroit, and there's a lot of decisions that need to be made. And Terry, he might not be able to make all of them without Meech checking in on him just to make sure that he's all right, because Meech is the older brother. Now, on the other hand, Meech got a lot of problems down in Atlanta because he's trying to get set up and he still has half of 500 bricks that need to be brought down so he can actually get his foot in the game. Now, before we jump into this and get a recap, if you like BMF content, breakdowns, theories, and predictions, then hit your subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button. We're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. So if you could do me a favor, if you don't see this at 100 likes, hit that like button. Now, episode 1, pretty good. It's a build up. We get introduced to a lot of new characters. So let's go ahead and jump into it. This is the recap for episode 1 of BMF Season 3. We start the episode off with older Meech and Terry. Now they're both sitting in here and they're telling their side of the story on how they ended up getting jammed up, because we know that story. Now shout out to Big Meech. He should be getting released in 2025. Southwest T was freed last year, so that's big ups for them. Well, they're both sitting in here and it's been 2 years since they spoke to each other. Now they don't want to say much because they are being recorded, but even though they went their separate ways, it's still good for them to see each other. We see Markeisha and Terry in an ambulance going to the hospital. That's because they got shot at by Boom. That's Markeisha's husband. Well, it wasn't him that did the shooting. It was one of his partners, a dude named Saint. So when they get to the hospital, the family shows up because they don't know if Terry is hurt or what actually went on. But once they get there, they find out that it was Markeisha. Now, his girl Wanda, his baby mother, is here, and she is upset because he's riding around with her and he got shot at. So for him, it's just a lot on his shoulders. But Terry, he's moving like a 17, 18-year-old. He's not thinking things through. He's just acting on whatever he wants. Now, down in Atlanta, Meech is linking up with some people. Remember, Goldie mentioned a guy by the name of Greenie. Well, Meech goes to meet up with Greenie, and he's saying, listen, I need you to introduce me to some of the new players. And Greenie says, well, it's going to be 15,000 up front, and then we'll do 10,000 from here on out. And I can also take you to the Platinum Palace where you can see some exotic women. Now, Meech, he knows he needs to make an establishment and make some connections. So he's like 15. He can muster up 15. He's like, all right, let's go do it. Let's go see these women and let's meet all the major players in Atlanta. When they get to the Platinum Palace, Meech ain't seen nothing like this. But Greenie makes him realize, hey, you can't move how you want to because there's some real major players here. And he's talking about the professional athletes. This is the 90s and they got money. Well, Meech also has money and his is liquid, meaning he has cash. Now from here, we go over and we meet the crew. Now all of these people, they are from Detroit and they relocated down here also, and they were cool with Ty Washington. So when they get over here, Meech is meeting them, and we also get introduced to Stacks, who was played by 2 Chainz. Now everyone's sitting here, they're introducing themselves, but what do they see? Remy. And if you don't remember, Remy is the guy that actually killed Ty Washington. From there, Meech, the rest of the PA boys, aka the new BMF, they go over there and they put a hurting on Remy and his whole crew from Techwood. I'm talking about a big old brawl. But that's just a regular night in the ATL. Terry's still at the hospital with Markeisha. She eventually wakes up. And of course, he's excited that she's up. But he does tell her, listen, I got to go get even. Boom, whoever he sent after you, Saint, I got to take him out. Because if I don't, my reputation is on the line. And if I allow them to do this, then anyone's going to think it's just sweet and they can run up on us. So right now, Terry is trying to defend not only his territory, but also make sure that Markeisha is feeling safe, even though Markeisha is the one that put them in this situation. But as I said, Terry's a young man, so he's just moving as a young man would, recklessly. They show us a little bit of Remy's story, and we see that Remy and his homeboy, well, they got the whole Techwood projects on lock. So they the big dogs over here, and I'm talking about big dogs. But they also have some bags on the table that they're getting prepared to give to the actual kids so they can have lunch. Because one thing about Remy, he makes sure that the whole neighborhood is good. So while he's out here and he's giving a speech to the kids telling them, listen, we're going to stick together. Even though they're trying to tear down our projects for the Olympics, we're always going to look out for each other. But we see that there's a new organization called the Red Dogs. And the Red Dogs, Their whole objective is to run every drug dealer out of Georgia, meaning they're going to clean up the streets and they violate your rights at any given moment. And that's what they do. They terrorize Remy and the projects. Charles and Lucille are still going through their differences. And well, Lucille, she's getting ready for that Wendy's work shift, and Charles comes in here. We know he messed up. Miss Mabel took advantage of him and he stepped out on his wife. And now she's telling him she wants to go ahead and move forward with the divorce. And you know they don't have any money. They still haven't painted the living room after all these years. So Charles, he's a little hurt, but Lucille, she is 100% serious about moving forward without Charles. Little Kevin, the murderer, well, he's sitting in a little detention center right now, waiting until he gets moved into the juvenile facility. But Detective Brian shows up and he feels bad because this is his son and he feels like he kind of let him down. Well, Kevin, you remember, he wanted Kevin to be tough and Kevin wanted to continue to draw comics. So that's what Kevin is doing to pass his time. But you can see that Detective Bryant, he ain't really feeling that because he knows what comes with being behind these bars. Terry is back home and he found out that Meech is talking to Boom about bringing the dope down here for him because they got 500 bricks and Meech needs his half. Well, Meech is also with Duffy and Rip and they're in the studio. So we're seeing the BMF aspect of them getting into the music business. And he tells Rip straight up, listen, when I get these bricks and we start selling your music, I don't ever want you to be back in the streets because Meech sees that he has a talent and Meech also knows this would be a legitimate way to clean up his money and to semi-go legit while still having one foot in the dope game. Ultimately, we know that you can't do that, but this is what his plan is. Terry's running BMF in Detroit how he's supposed to, making it happen. But of course, he needs to get back to the hospital to check on Markeisha. So he told Roland to make sure that his family is straight, meaning take them some food, put some money in their pocket, and look out for them. Lucille, she's still upset because people are talking to her about Terry getting shot at and almost losing his life, and she just wants to start at a new church where nobody knows who she is and she can just live life. Now Charles gets a little jealous because Roland shows up with some steaks, some collard greens, some flowers, and he tells him, Roland, give me my key back to my house. I don't know what you heard. Meech told Sterling to not let Terry go out and get at Saint. Somebody in PA has to do it. While that's going on, he's still trying to negotiate and get Stacks on his side because remember, Stacks said, you can talk a good talk, but can you walk it? Well, those 250 bricks came down here and Meech is telling them, listen, since we're family, I'm going to go ahead and hook you up with a discount. I usually let them go for 30, but for you, I'm going to hook you up, but don't tell nobody this price. Basically, what Meech is trying to do is the lower you sell your price, you can undercut the competition, but you can also move your dope at a faster pace. Meaning if I sell more at 20 than you selling at 30 and I can keep selling them at 20 because people want it for the lower price, then you'll make more money and you'll make it faster. Sterling tells Terry, you can't go on this hit. Meech don't want you to do that, plus you a big dog. But while Meech just dropped off those bricks, linked up with Dice, they got to go pick up our young boy Rip. But when they do that, all hell breaks loose. I'm talking about the Miami Killers is out here, Techwood is out here, and it's just a shootout from all different angles. The Miami Killers, they show up, they kind of help Meech. Meech and them got to get low. Rip is hit. They got to pick up the dope. So right now, the city is on fire. And you don't really know what's going on. You just know you got to survive at this moment. And when you get home, Meech and them will figure out exactly what happened. Well, it turns out Detective Brian hadn't got a lawyer yet. So they're sending Kevin to juvenile, like right now. And Kevin, he's scared, but he's asking all kinds of questions because he's green. He doesn't know what's going on. But Brian is telling him, listen, you're going to be in there with other boys. Don't look at none of them in the eye. Don't accept any favors. Don't cry in front of them because if they see a weak target, they're definitely going to abuse them and pick on Kevin. And unfortunately for Kevin, there's no guns in here. So defending yourself is going to have to be your right and your left fist. And if you don't know how to throw those things properly or be able to get your hand on some kind of weapon, then it might be over for you. Detective Jen has a new partner, Detective Ambrose. Now, Ambrose came from a family with money, but she cut them off because she wants to have her own legacy. So these two, they're partnered up and they had to go talk to Markeisha in the hospital. But after this, they find out that there's a body. Now, this body belongs to Saint. This is the guy that shot at Markeisha and Terry. Well, they find the body, and they're automatically assuming it came from Terry. But Jen also sees some bricks, and she confiscates the bricks. Ambrose is new to this. Jen, she's been around Brian long enough to know sometimes you have to tamper with evidence. Meech has been thinking about expanding. He's been looking at the highways, and he told Terry straight up, man, there's some money out here. We have the gateway to everywhere, all the way up the eastern seaboard, all the way down to Miami, and even a straight connection to Texas. But they go and meet up with Glock. Now, Glock doesn't come outside. His security is telling them, you can't come in here. So Meech is upset. We're just going to have to wait on this meeting with Glock. But as they're leaving, Remy Ransom pulls up, and he pulls up with the boy Dice. Now, they whoop Dice's ass, and they throw him in front of Meech, and they tell him, you go back up north, because if you stay down here, we'll be sending you back up north in a body bag. All right, let me know what you think about episode 1. What is your rating of it? Who is going to be a bigger issue for Meech down in Atlanta? Is it going to be Remy Ransom in Techwood, or is it going to be the Miami Killers? Because everybody is stepping on stuff, and one thing we know about Miami, them boys are some straight up killers, yo. And one thing we know about Atlanta, they ain't letting it go down without a fight. So let me know what you think. I'm MoDIJ. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm on that road to 50,000 subscribers. So if I said something to make you go, then hit that subscribe button. If it ain't at 100 likes, hit that like button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.